Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you have a question for Coach, please raise your hand. Jen?
Hey, Coach. How many post players you got today?
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe, and 3 of them are on minutes limits.
Okay, so can we put some names with those numbers?
Tina, Erica, Teresa, and Megan. And Teresa, I haven't seen warm up yet. So
Is Tina on a minutes limit?
yes.
And is there a chance that Maisha could meet you guys in Seattle, or is she out for the whole road trip?
I don't know yet. We'll see how she's doing tomorrow. She saw the doctors today. She's, we'll see. I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that. That's kind of day to day to see how she's doing right now.
Gotcha. And then last thing for me, Minnesota has obviously been playing well lately. What do you think is the most challenging part about playing them tonight?
I think part of it is our lack of depth up front. I mean, that's a big thing when you're talking about fouls and Collier to start out with. I offered Cheryl a minutes limit on Sylvia to see if we can match up, but I didn't quite sell that one. I think that's the first thing. And I think that, they have a bunch of people with Collier and McBride and now Aerial Powers and Dangerfield who are all shooting the ball pretty well. And, when you're trying to help on fouls in the paint, you still can't go to sleep on their shooters on the perimeter, particularly the way McBride's been playing. I mean, she's been terrific during this winning streak for them. And so we're going to have to do a great job on her.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Patrick?
Yeah, hi, Mike. Pat Borzi here. I'm filling in for the Washington Post tonight.
Okay.
When you mentioned that the team is on a minutes limit, can you give me a rough idea of what that is?
No.
How did she look? Well, it doesn't hurt to ask.
No, and the only reason I'm not doing that is I don't want an opponent to know right now what our minutes limit is and try to, from matchup standpoint and anything else. It's nothing, against you guys. It's just it's more strategy and how I use the minutes too.
Understood. How did Tina look at shoot around today and just a little bit that you've seen her today?
I mean, shoot around, it's not anything that's very physical. So, but she did well at practice yesterday, and she felt pretty good this morning. I mean, morning is different than night. She was stiffer in the morning. We'll see. She's out warming up right now, and I don't really know until we start playing, and then I just tell players like her, as we go through, you need to let me know how you feel. I'll try to get her an early sub, partly from a minute standpoint, and see how it goes. But given everything we've had, even Tina at not 100% is a big plus for us having her back out on the floor too.
Can you even remember the last time that you had a full team for a game or even a practice?
We've had it once this year. I think we made a big deal of it. It was a couple weeks ago, the day before Elena played, I think her first game. Whenever it was, we had 12 players for practice for the first time in 2+ years. And it lasted one game in the Seattle game. Tina and Elena played together for about 16 minutes in that game. And then Tina's been out since. And then Elena played another game or two, and she's been out. That's the only time, I mean, in the entire last couple of years that we've had a full team.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Doug?
Hey, Mike, good to see you. You've been saying, and most coaches say it's next man up philosophy, so to speak, but you've been doing that pretty much all year. Can you remember a season like this in your coaching career that you've had so many injuries, some people going out? And
no, this has been the worst in 50 years of coaching. This has been the worst I've ever been through. It's frustrating and it's hard for everybody, not just me. I mean, it's hard on the staff. It's hard on all the players. They come to practice every day, not knowing who's going to be there, who can do anything. So that's been difficult.
And with all that said, you're still in the hunt for a playoff spot. It's kind of like if we could just get in the season and get everyone healthy, like we could do really good things in the
Yeah,
post.
I mean, that's the craziness of this whole thing. I mean, we could get in essentially on the next to last or last game of the season and get in the playoffs. And if we're healthy, we'll be a threat. If we're not, then just limping in won't do us any good. You know, I know New York's only got 3 games and they're tough games. One of them is us. I haven't looked at LA's really carefully, but we do have the tiebreaker on that one. I don't know that we could catch Dallas because they own the tiebreaker, but I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we could literally make the playoffs maybe at 12-20, and I wouldn't be proud of it, but if we were in, we'll take it and give ourselves a chance.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Tyler?
Hey, Coach, here we go again with these injuries. Are you guys able to maybe even use it as a badge of honor of like, hey, we've been here before, we've been down to 6 players, we aren't that bad in this situation, or is it just worn on the players at this point?
I don't know. I mean, it's worn on everybody, but we don't talk about it. I mean, we really don't. You know, we basically, you know, it's a cliche about next person up, but I mean, that's how it's had to be for us. We've tried to manufacture different kinds of lineups. So you might see a small lineup for a while tonight. You know, some days it's almost like you just laugh about it and say, okay, this is typical of our season. I mean, it's just the way everything has been. And, you know, it's like real life. I mean, you know, stuff gets thrown at you and it's how you handle it. You can moan and groan about it, but it doesn't change anything. You just go about your business and try to do it the best you can and see what happens.
And with 3 post players, obviously it's a more ideal situation than we could have expected coming in. But with Sylvia being out there and being such a factor down in the post, we won't see any small lineups against her, right? How would you?
Oh, you might. I mean, you might see a small lineup with her on the floor because they're in the same boat a little bit. I mean, Collier, they would prefer to play Collier at the 3, but because of Dantis's injury and Achan was back, has been bothering her. I don't know how much she'll play. The Collier's played most of her minutes at 4, so there's a chance that part of the game, if Collier's out of the game, we could have one post player playing against Tina and just put a bunch of shooters around her and see what happens. I mean, all of that's on the table for us right now.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
I think that's it, Coach. Thank
Okay.
you.
See you all after.